A new article reveals how more people are homeschooling than almost ever before due to all the chaos associated with schooling during the pandemic. And as the Nomad Capitalist, I believe that brings an opportunity that I'm going to talk with you about right now. Hi, I'm Andrew Henderson. This is Nomad Capitalist. We're the channel and the company that helps 7- and 8-figure entrepreneurs and investors legally go where you're treated best. The article is from Axios, and it says that the number of U.S. kids who are homeschooled has nearly doubled during the pandemic. Why does it matter, Axios says? Some parents have lost faith in traditional schools, others fear exposing their kids to the coronavirus, and the broad exodus could further weaken America's struggling public education system. Nearly 2.6 million kids have switched from traditional school to homeschooling since the pandemic. This is according to a new report from the Bellwether Education Partners, commissioned by the Walton Family Foundation. Now, the number of homeschooled U.S. kids sits at about 5 million. That's more than 11% of U.S. households that are now homeschooling. And it's not just white families, the article said, I don't know why it would be, who are moving to homeschooling. 9.7% of white families with kids have pulled the kids out. 12.1% of Hispanic families, 8.8% of Asian families, and 16.1% of black families. The reasons, they say, are varied. For the first time in modern history, parents got a chance to observe their children's education up close and at home. And it seems a lot of them don't like it. Many are deciding they want more individualized learning options for their kids, whether that's more attention from educators or more personalized lesson plans. Others are fed up with virtual learning, while others don't feel safe sending kids to school while the pandemic rages on. Now, this touches on a lot of things that we've talked about at Nomad Capitalist from the beginning. And while I don't have children, I work with people who have children. I know people who have children. I employ people who have children. And this is something that I have thought a lot about. Because for me, as an entrepreneur from a very early age, I believe that anything is possible if you set your mind to it. And so when families come to me and say, I wish I would have done this nomad thing when I'm single, it's too late now. The first thing I say is, given all the chaos we've seen in the last year and a half, and again, everyone has their own different version of what that is, but certainly the governments have been taking advantage. Certainly, you have fewer freedoms, your taxes are going to go up. There's just a lot of crazy stuff going on. Having a plan B is a good idea. It could be a residence permit in another country, a citizenship in another country, a home to go to another country. I believe diversification is important. So while a lot of people whom I know who live in one country are going and buying a country house, a summer estate, in their own country, why not do that somewhere else? And so in the same context of simply diversifying your assets, diversifying yourself, having different options around the world in case things get bad, in case the entire country becomes like a public school system with higher taxes to boot, if you can homeschool your kids, this is like one of my things where if you can move from California to Nevada for taxes, if you're already moving, you might as well just move and push it to the limit. If you're going to put your kids in a new school by moving, if you're going to have to meet new neighbors and make new friends and all this, if you're going to have to make those changes while you move, you might as well move to the most friendly place you possibly can. And most people who are leaving a high tax state in the US, for example, for a low tax state or a zero tax state, aren't considering, why don't I move to the Cayman Islands? Why don't I move to Costa Rica? Why don't I move to Portugal? Why don't I move to the UK? Why don't I move to Switzerland or Thailand? All these countries have certain tax incentives or no taxes at all. Countries like Dubai, Monaco, etc. The UAE, of course, being the country there. And so if you can take your kids out of school because you're seeing that the schooling isn't what you hoped it would be, perhaps you've been watching your kids in school, and hey, they must be getting a good education. What could the problem be? Well, now you're seeing what the problem is. And if you're one of the 1 in 9 people who is suggesting or who is going to actually bring your kids home, why not, number one, use the opportunity to show them different places in the world. I've had numerous friends who have kids, and I'll often say, hey, come over for spring break. I'm in Malaysia, I'm in Georgia, I'm in, wherever. Come on over, bring your son. He's 16 years old. Let him go out and, talk to the chicas in Colombia, whatever the case may be. And I said, he's going to learn more, or she's going to learn here in 2 weeks, the spring break plus the week after, than they will in school in Nashville or Chicago, whatever the place may be. And they always agree with me. Why not take your kids and apply my trifecta method, where if you're working from home, take your kids and let them work from home. And so now you can legally reduce your taxes by living in another country or countries. The trifecta method opens up to you can do it different places. Let your kids learn another language by spending 4 months, for example, in a Spanish-speaking country. Let them experience then European culture. Go and spend 4 months in the summer in Europe. Go and spend 4 months in Asia. That's the trifecta that I originally imagined, was you get the best of each of 3 different continents. If you want to throw Africa in there and show them places that are really emerging, some of the places in Africa, or maybe you want to go to South Africa and then hop off to different places. There's many ways you could do this. Get residence permits, go as a tourist. You could do 6 countries instead of 3. You could do 2. I mean, you can do whatever you want. But the idea is now your kids aren't in school. You no longer have that anchor. For many people, if you run your own location independent business, you never had the anchor. It was only the kids. I work with a lot of those. They say, give me the plan B, Andrew. Maybe we'll move in 3 years. The kids are finishing school. Well, how many people are slowing down their plans to have an adventure in life, legally reduce their taxes, possibly by millions, open up more freedom for themselves, get that second passport sooner potentially because they're waiting 3 years for their kid to go to a school where now that they're actually putting the school under the microscope isn't actually that good. Our friend Ashley, who wrote the book Worldschooling, you can find it on Amazon, she wrote the book on this a number of years ago about how more and more parents are going to unschooling or some kind of worldschooling where maybe you've got a tutor, maybe you're teaching them yourself, maybe you're letting them explore on their own. There's many different ways to do it that she outlines in the book. Worldschooling is increasingly popular. And what people are doing is they're meeting up all around the world and they're exposing their kids to help them meet friends, which is one of the things that they're not getting from remote learning at home. They're not meeting their friends. They're not making new friends. I have someone who works with us here on the team. Their son is going to school for the first time. They're going to school for the first time on a computer. How are they going to make friends on a computer? How are they going to have the interaction that everyone for so long has said, well, that's what you need school for the friends. You can now go all around the world and you can use Worldschooling. You can make friends. You can now, expose your kids to learn different languages, the things that really matter. That's what parents are talking about. They're saying, my kids, I want more individualized lesson plans. I think languages are going to be important. I wish there had been more emphasis on that when I was growing up. Your kids are going to see, especially if you're an entrepreneur, you want your kids to be entrepreneurial, they're going to see so many investment and entrepreneurship opportunities around the world. They're not going to see that, in a suburb of Nashville or in a suburb of Adelaide. They will see it if you go to places in Southeast Asia. They will see it in Eastern Europe. They will see it in parts of Central America where you can find plenty safe places. You can expose them to different environments. They can meet people from all around the world. They can build their skills. By the way, you can just choose one place to go if you want. You can still legally reduce your taxes in the right one place. But the point is, what this says to me is not only is this an opportunity to get your kids out into the world, it's not just about, hey, now you've got your reason, now you've got your excuse to go out and save on taxes by leaving your home country and legally reducing your tax bill. That's been the case for a while, but now you've also got the benefit of, maybe my kids aren't learning that much in this school. Let me hire a tutor to travel with us around the world. Put an ad out for a tutor. Go out and try and hire a tutor who has a lot of experience, went to one of the best schools, and I'll bet you can find someone for, the price of a high-end international school, the cost of a prep school. You will find a pretty good tutor from someone who has international experience. They'll follow you around. They'll teach your kids. Or if you're going to settle in one place like a Dubai, hire someone to come and do tutoring. Put together lesson plans that incorporate the international life that you're having. You're going to give your kids such an advantage. You're going to reduce your taxes. You're going to increase family freedom for the whole family. You're going to get the kids and the whole family potentially on a route to a second passport by living in a country. And I think it's going to be a great experience. This, to me, takes away one of the biggest excuses. We can't take our kids out of school. Well, 1 in 9 Americans are now. I think you'll see more to come. I think that while we've talked about, Nomad Capitalist, people have less trust in the government. They're wasting your tax dollars. You've seen in the last year and a half just how little they care about you and just how little they will do. Look at the Americans in Afghanistan. Look at the Brits in Afghanistan. Their government's not helping all of them. Your government is not going to save you. Now you're seeing your kids' school, perhaps run by the government, it's not going to save them. This is a tremendous opportunity for everyone in the family to go where you're treated best. Don't stop now. We've got well over 1,000 more videos here on YouTube for you to watch and learn how to go where you're treated best. And if you want to work with Nomad Capitalist personally, go to nomadcapitalist.com/apply, learn about our unique, tried and true process, garnered over years of experience, and learn how you can become our client.